Okay, so good evening, guys. So let us continue our advanced scripting session. So today, what we're going to do. So in the last session, I had shown you some, uh, good script examples, right? And I also said that like we will be continuing our session from the debugging. So what we'll do today. So there are two major topics which we'll be covering today. Okay, so what are those two topics? So let me first write the date and time. So today is 11th November 2023 and the time is 6:20 p.m. IST. Now guys, so what we're going to do today. So we are going to cover two important things. One is your debugging. It is very simple debugging methods or debugging. What are the things or what are the options are there which we'll be using in our debugging, and then like we will be covering about the three-tier architecture. This is very important. Three-tier architecture we'll be covering. Okay, so we'll firstly understand what is a three-tier architecture, and then we will proceed in building a three-tier architecture. Okay, it means that through first we will do it manually. So whenever you are working on three-tier architecture, you know that you have something as a web server, you have something known as an application server, and you have a database server. So these are the things which you will be seeing in a three-tier architecture, right? For the web server, you will use either Nginx or Apache. In our case, we will be showcasing Nginx. For the application server, you can use either Microsoft IAS server, which is an application server, or you can use a WebLogic, or we can use a Tomcat server. But in our session, what I'll be doing, I'll be showcasing about the Tomcat server. And I have an application actually, a var file. Okay, I have a var file. So I have the var file. Var file means .var file, which is not but which is an application actually. So which is written in Java 8 language. So I'll be hosting an application also into the Tomcat server, and I will be running this application which is written in the Java 8 actually. Okay, this is also I will show you, and the last is nothing but we will be showcasing about the database. Either you can install, you can work with a MySQL database, or you can even install the MariaDB or Redis or any database. We can install it, but we will be showcasing about the MariaDB server. Okay, so what we will be doing here initially, like after the explanation of a three-tier architecture, I will be explaining about the installation or the manual installation. First, we will be doing it manually. All the things means manually installing and setting up and checking how it works. And then once we get the manual steps, once we are aware of manual steps of installing all the servers like web server, installing all these servers, like for example for example we are using web server, using application server, app server, as well as we're using DB server. So once we get all the manual steps, we need to just convert these steps into writing a script, convert these steps in writing scripts for automation. So I might not be completely doing it today itself, because this explaining about all these things and installing it manually and writing a script for this will take ample of time. It needs more than 1 or 2 hours it might need. So today we might not cover everything. I will do a part of it today. Half of the things I will do means I will try to write a script where I'll be showcasing about how to write the script for app deployment as well as a DB deployment. Maybe tomorrow we can start with the web server deployment. Like for example, we want to install Nginx. How you can install Nginx manually. Manually, anyhow, I will show. Plus, you need to even show an automated way also. It means that you need to write a script for that. So everything, all these things, what I will do, right? I will write a single script for that. It's not like that I'll write a separate script. I will write a single script and then just call that single script to install all these three components, and then making your application up and running. Clear? So this is what will be we'll be covering today, as well as we'll continue even in the next class tomorrow also. Tomorrow evening also, we will try to connect at the same time, where I'll be continuing with that, and I'll be showcasing you the set programming and awk programming. Okay. Day after tomorrow, Monday, will be our last session, where I'll be discussing on the interview question answers, whatever the interview questions answers which has been asked in Linux, right? That I will continue either Monday or Tuesday, and then we will complete our course. This is what I thought to complete the course in this manner. Okay, fine. Okay, so let us continue now. So we will start with the debugging method. So debugging the bash shell scripting. So why we are debugging actually? So debugging is basically determining the cause. How I can say debugging is the methodology. It's determining the cause of which fails the script actually. So it means that whenever the script is failing, right? Because whenever the script is failing, you need to debug. As a shell script writer, you should know how to debug your script, right? So now the question comes, sir, why the script fails? Because there could be some errors, right? There could be some errors. So the question comes, sir, why the script fails then? Definitely there could be some errors, right? Because of some errors only. Correct. So there are two types of errors are there. So broadly, okay, there are two types of errors. What are those? First is about the syntax error, and second is a runtime error. What is syntax? Syntax means basically if there is any syntax issue within your script, right? Within a script, if there is any syntax issue, then what happened, right? The script or your bash will throw an error. The bash will throw an error. So now assume that actually you have written a script. Actually, you have written a script. You have written a script, and you have written a script. We have a script, and in that script we have some syntax error. We have some syntax error. So usually what happened during execution or during the script execution, during script section, as soon as the shell executes the line or execute the script line which has some syntax error, then the shell will stop the execution. So it means that as soon as there is any syntax error it found while executing it, so the line which has a syntax error, right? As soon as it executes that line and shell understands that there's some syntax error there, shell will stop there itself. It will not proceed further, even though the other lines or the below lines, whatever is there, right? Even though those lines are correct, the syntax, everything is correct, the shell will stop there itself. It will not proceed further. That's all. Okay, so that is all the syntax error. What about the runtime error? Runtime error is something. Runtime error is something like, for example, like you have something like a wrong command. Suppose some wrong command is there, wrong command in your script, and shell is executing line by line. From top to the bottom, shell is executing. Now, as soon as shell tries to execute the wrong command, which is there in your script, actually, shell will throw error saying that the command not found. Shell throw command not found. Command not found. That is a shell will throw an error actually. Okay. Command not found. So shell will throw the error as command not found, and shell will continue to execute the script. So it means that if there is any wrong command, if there is something wrong which is there within your shell script, it is not a syntax error, guys. It is syntactically, there is nothing wrong. It is just a command. So if the command is, if the shell is executing something, a command which is not found, of the command itself is not there, then shell script will not stop executing. It will proceed further executing. So as soon as it hits any wrong command, a command which doesn't exist, or there's no command with that name, so shell will throw error saying that command output, and then shell will further execute it. Whereas in case of a syntax error, as I said, right, if there is any syntax error within the shell script, actually, shell will try to execute the syntax error in the line which has syntax error. It will say that this is syntax error, and then it will stop executing the script. It will not proceed further. Clear? That is the small difference between these two types of error, syntax error and shell script. So now let us write a script now, a small script, and let us see how to debug a script. So let me log into this server. So let me copy this public IP of the CentOS OS. Go to my downloads writer where I have a putty. Load the CentOS session and whatever we have saved it. Give the public IP and just say open it. Yes, you're able to open it. Fine. Let me switch to the root user. All is good. So I have kept all the scripts under /home CentOS. Good. I have I will write, I have something in scripts directory. Yeah, get into that. Then I have something like a debug underscore script.sh, something. I will write a script with that name. Okay. So now what I will do, #bang /bin/bash or else /usr bin env space bash like this. Okay, fine. And then like I will try to like write a very small script. So let me execute, or let me call the pwd command. Let me call the date command. Let me call one more thing, something user is equal to dollar of id -u or dollar of id space -u echo. This is for debugging bash shell script, something. I'm just writing, and echo space, what is it? The user is dollar of user. So I would say that the user ID actually. If user ID. Okay, that's fine. So if you carefully the script, okay, and I'll execute the script actually. So I'll say the script, I'll chmod +x debug script.sh, debug underscore script.sh. So you're given the execute permission. When I try to execute the script /debug script.sh, the script executes fine. So it is executing every line, and you could see that there is no error in the script at all. This is perfectly fine. Assume that actually, if you open the script and assume that, so you could see that user ID is equal to dollar of ID minus u. And now here what happened, right? You have not closed this bracket. So this is syntax error actually. Now I'll say the script. So now try to execute the script. Now you could see that actually it has executed the first two commands, and later what happened, right? It has tried to execute that command. So it says that the unexpected end of file while looking for a matching. So it means that it is throwing an error, and it's saying that it's a syntax error, unexpected line, unexpected, and then it is failing. So it is not proceeding further. If you see the script actually, if you see the script, guys, you could see that actually these two lines are not getting executed at all. So as soon as the shell is executing this line, it has found that there is some syntax error. So this is, we call it as a syntax error. So as you know, syntax error, whenever the shell is executing any line which has some syntax error, so shell will throw an error and shell will stop executing. It will not proceed further. Is it clear? It will not proceed further. That's how we call it as a syntax error. Okay. So syntax error was what I said. Syntax error will stop the execution, and runtime error don't stop the execution. That's what you have to say. Clear? Now, for example, now assume that I will go to here and I will go with I'll open the script, debug underscore script.sh. So assume that I am executing some command, like something like this, some nonsense command. There's no with this command. Now I will save the script, and then I'll execute the script. Okay, let me correct the syntax. Let me close this. Okay, for time being, let me close this. Okay. And then like I will say the script and run. I will run the script now. Now you could see that the shell has thrown error saying that this is something it's treating as a command, but it said that command not found. So it has executed that line number 4 where it tried to execute this as a command, but there's no command with this name. So shell has thrown an error saying that command not found, and shell has proceeded further to execute all the below lines. So here this we call a runtime error. So in the runtime error, shell will not stop execution. Shell will proceed the execution even though it says that command not found. This is actually an error actually. Shell is throwing an error. There's no command with this name. But still what happened? Shell will proceed further executing the script. Right? So if you really say, actually speaking, we don't have very good debugging procedure with the shell script actually. Okay, but we can try out with some commands. Like for example, some people, what they do in the industry, right? They've written some very big script, like 100, 200 line scripts. They want to see the flow of the script executing and all. They will everywhere they'll insert echo command to make sure that actually the execution flow is going fine. And it is something like a checkpoint. So they will use like that, or else it is not really required. You can use some debugging option to do that. Actually. Okay, so there are different commands, guys, for the debugging, and we will work on those commands. What are those commands? So what is it? What is a command basically which we use for debugging? So for debugging, we use set command. Set command is very much important. Okay, so now if you go here and if you try to execute the command set command and enter. So what the set command is doing, set command is showing you all the environment variables or whatever the shell possesses, everything it is showcasing here. Okay, so shell provides all the environment. It shows or it displays all the environment variable, whatever the system has. Okay, so it means that if you're not specifying any value, so here I'm not specifying any value, I'm just directly executing set without any option. So what happened, right? It will list out all the system defined variables. So that's how when I enter it, it shows me all these system defined variables. Okay, suppose you say that Rajesh, I am passing set -n. So when you're executing with any option along the set command, right? Then what -n option will do is that it say that it will not execute it. It purely checks for the syntax error. Like for example, if you say that Rajesh, I will open this file vi, okay, and debug script.sh. Let me remove this line and let me even remove this last bracket also. Now this is the syntax.
Ravi, your voice is breaking.
Now, hello.
Yeah,
For
now
me, for me it's good.
Rudraya, I think you can check from your end. I think here it's fine. What about Lawrence? Is it my voice clear?
Yes, sir, it's fine for me.
Yeah, Rudraya, please check, sir.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Now what I did here, guys, now I opened the script actually. I open the debug underscore script.sh. Then I have used at the top of my script here, I'm using some command to set with the -n option. So I've already, I'm executing the script with the set -n option. What set -n option will do, it will not execute your script. It will try to just check whether there is any syntax error within the script. So when I say the script and when I execute the script /debug script.sh, so it says that actually, see, the script is not getting executed, but it says that there is a syntax error is there. Okay, so with that, you will get to know, okay, you are not executing script, but you want to check or verify the syntax. So either you can do in different ways. Like for example, if you open the debug script.sh, you can either use a set command. If you say, Rajesh, I'm not using set command, what you can do, you can remove this line, and then like you can here pass only, here only you can pass with the -n option. Like this. -n option, you can pass directly like this. Here itself, you can pass like this. Now, if you do it now, check it again. So it says that Okay. Hyphen X, why it is not working? Okay. So let me change it to /bin/bash, #bang/bin/bash, and then use a hyphen N option. So now you could see that it is throwing an error. So either you can use this way, or either you can use a set command, set hyphen N. Both are same actually, like this. Clear? But usually what happens, people use the set command in within your script only for the debugging purpose. It means that now you say that Rajesh, I have written some 100 lines of script, 100 lines. Now at the top, you can just mention set hyphen N and then save the file, then execute script. So set hyphen N will only first check the syntax error. So if there's any syntax error is there, it will throw it. If there is no syntax error, nothing it will throw. Like for example, here you could see that. So I have closed this bracket. Now there's no syntax error. Now if you execute the script, now you could see that, okay, if it is not executing, but set command with hyphen M, it is not even throwing the error also. There is no syntax. It means that your script is fine. Now what happened, what you will do, you will try to open that script again. Now you'll just comment this line saying that, okay, it has did his work. It means the set hyphen S has completed his work. Now you save this file and then you can execute the script. Like this people will do. So they will use a set command, but they will use for the debugging, and then they will just put a hash or they'll put the comment. Right? That's how we do in the industry. Clear? We do in the industry. Now, suppose you say that, sir, I want to check line by line what it is doing. Then what you do that you will use a hyphen X option. Set with a hyphen X option. So now you could see that I'll say the script. Now, if you execute the script, now you could see that it is showing the plus mark sign. Plus mark sign signifies that this command has been executed in the back end. After executing the backend PWD, in the foreground, it is printing the output. After executing this date command in the backend, in the foreground, it is executing. Now you could see in the third line, guys, in third line, if you see it, watch carefully, you could see that in the third line, you have set a variable user ID is equal to $of ID hyphen U. So what the shell is doing, shell is taking everything this one, right? It is executing ID-U. The output, what happened, right? The output 0, it is now storing into the variable user-ID. And then you could see the backend, it is executing echo. This script is for debugging shell script. The same string here, it is printing here in the foreground. See, echo the user ID is a $user ID. So $user ID is a variable. Now what the shell is doing in the backend, it is substituting the value. What is the value? 0. It is substituting here and it says that user ID is 0. The same string it is printed in the foreground. So whatever you see plus mark sign, that it means that it is doing a computing or it is executing in the backend. And after executing, what are the output you're getting in the foreground. So you could see that all the foreground output, whatever you're seeing, right, there is no plus mark here. So there is no plus mark here, there's no plus mark here, there's no, it means that all these are output. The outputs are coming to your screen or your monitor or to terminal. On all this plus mark, it signifies that your shell is executing in the backend. So how you are getting this plus mark sign? Because shell will use a PS4 shell variable. So if you say echo $, and say tab, can you see there's a PS4? See, this is a shell variable, environment variable. This signifies internally it uses this PS4 variable. This variable has a plus mark sign. See, if you say echo plus mark sign, it is a plus sign. So your shell script with whatever we are using hyphen X option, right? If you have this hyphen X option, right? This hyphen X options, internally, it will use this PS4 shell variable for debugging purpose. Correct? So, like that actually. Now, one more is there. Like, for example, I will open the debug script .sh. Okay. Now, I will comment this line and I'll also use a set command with the hyphen E option. And what I will do, I will insert some wrong command, the command not found like this, as well as I will try to remove this syntax. I'll remove the bracket actually. Now let's see what the hyphen E option does. I'll save the script actually. Now I'll say /debug script.sh. So can you see here? So what happened, right? the runtime command, the runtime error, right? Whatever the command not found, it has executed this. But as I said earlier, right, the runtime error will not stop the execution. But you say that no, sir, still I want to stop it, even though I have hit some command which is not found. So it's a wrong command, not found. I should not proceed further executing. In that case, guys, you have to use a -e option. So what the shell will do? Shell will check if there is any something wrong command. Yes, you are executing some wrong command. So whenever you are executing a wrong command, shell will not proceed further. It will not execute. If you're not using this option, assume that if you're not setting this option, then what happened? Shell will execute even this line, this line, this line, everything it will execute. But here what happened? Since I'm using -e option, what -e say that if you are executing any command, which the command not found, it throws error, you don't continue executing it. You stop there itself. That is what the -e option is used. So many times what happened? People use this option also because that they want to even see that none of the things, none of the command should none of the command should should be wrongly executed, or if there is something like a wrong command, right, it should come out from the execution. It should not proceed further. That's the reason we use this one. Clear? So this is what we have this option. I have one more option either, which I really don't. I mean, I don't really like that much, but still okay. So what is that option? -v option, actually, verbose option. So set -v. So let me remove this line, and also let me add this syntax. Let me correct this syntax so that. So what the -v option will do if I execute debug. So -v option, what it will do first, it will display the entire your script content, whatever your script has, right? That will it will try to do it, and then it will show you the output. It will just display it, actually. That's all, right? It will just display your the entire output, the entire script content. Okay, and it will show you the output also. So there is nothing much use of this. This verbose, it will display the whole content of the file, and it's just even show the output also. So guys, these are the some few options we have in a debugging script. Actually, we don't have that much actually. These are the debugging options. So what are those debugging options we have? We have a what you have? You have a -n, -x, -e, -v. Most of the time we use this option -x and -n. These are the most of the time we use this option. Okay, these are two options we use. This we don't use it that much. These two. Clear? Okay, fine. So that's all about the debugging. As I said, there is nothing like a fancy here. So it's a very simple, and debugging the script options are not that effective, but still, like, we use this actually. All right, we use this. So either it could be something like a runtime error, or it could be it will always be syntax error, or it will be some typo mistakes where you have typed it something wrongly. That could be the only issue when you're writing a script. Otherwise, the debugging a script will be is very easy. When you are typing a script, right, then and there itself you will debug it. It means that you will see what are the things which are missing. You also are very good in syntax, and also I don't think that you are going to do any mistake while typing it. Sometime what happens, some typo mistake will happen where when you are typing it very fastly, you might did some typo. That could be the error. Otherwise, usually what happened, usually the script writer won't they won't find any that much of error in the script actually. Clear? Okay, guys, good. Now, so what is our next topic now? Next topic is that we need to understand about the three-tier architecture. Very important, actually. This is one of the very important question being asked in every interview. Like, what can you explain the three-tier architecture, or else in your real time, which is the architecture we have adopted, right? What are the different types of architecture you have? Which architecture you have been working? So this is a very, very common question which has been asked actually. Okay, so by asking this, firstly, like, they will get to know like how perfect you are in this three-tier architecture. Okay, and what are the different components which comes within this three-tier architecture, how these components internally they communicate each other in the three-tier architecture. Okay, and what could be the design, what kind of a design you adopt it actually for certain requirement. So it depends upon project to project actually. So for some project, you might implement 3-tier architecture. Some in some architecture, for some project requirement, you will implement the 4-tier architecture, 5-tier. It means that you can keep adding a lot of components or layers to make sure that you will be using more number of layers or more number of layers we say, or more number of tiers we say actually. But the basic thing, the basic thing is that actually in the industry, largely in the industry, we use always the 3-tier architecture. We don't use 2-tier architecture or 1-tier architecture. We don't use it actually. Correct? But before learning the 3-tier architecture, let us try to understand about what exactly a client and a server is actually. So we have come across with a lot of time about this client and server. We say that, okay, the client is there and there's a server is there. Client always connect to the server and server will serve the service to the client. Like that, we always talk about that, right? Many times. In many, that is a very commonly, like we discuss always about this. We take this word very common, client and server architecture, right? Whenever we talk about something on networking, so usually it comes with the client and server architecture. Now, what happened now, guys? So let us understand what is a client and a server architecture. So let me open MS Paint. Okay, good. Now, so now we have a client and server architecture. Okay, guys, you know that in the very early, very long time, like if you talk about like some 10, 15 years or something like that, right? Like whenever any software is built, whenever any softwares are built, right? Whenever the softwares are built, so whenever any softwares are built, you know that the softwares are built for a particular server. Like for example, this is my laptop. Assume that this is my laptop. And you know that in my laptop, we have installed the Windows actually. We have a Windows operating system, right? And this is not but Windows 10. So tomorrow will be upgraded to Windows 11, Windows 10, like that, right? And assume that actually like I have installed, or in my machine, we have a Microsoft Office. We have a Microsoft Office, right? Now, so I have installed this Microsoft Office. Okay. 1 second, guys. 1 second. I'm just getting a call. Let me 1 second. Yeah, sorry. So you know that we have installed the Microsoft Office in our laptop, right? So basically, what happened, right? You have installed that Microsoft Office in your local desktop machine. So this will act like a desktop application. Desktop application. It means that whenever you want to make use of application, I need to log into this machine, or I need to switch on my laptop, log into this machine, and make use of that office. Like I want to use Microsoft PowerPoint PPT, or I want to open Microsoft Excel sheet, right? So I have to open and I have to use it. Right now, what happened, right? Basically, what happened, right? You are making the software to be installed in your laptop. Fine. Tomorrow, if there is any upgrade comes, so today assume that you are using Microsoft Office 2016. In your machine you are having 2016. Now tomorrow you might come across with a 2019 Microsoft Office, right? So you might want to even upgrade also. So now what happened, that as a user, as an end user, what you will do, guys, you will try to even install, or you will try to upgrade from 2016 to 2019. Fine, okay. So now, since your software is everything installed in a system, it is installed in your hard drive, or it is installed in your storage disk actually. That means that even you need to manage the storage also. Manage the storage disk. It means that if hard disk is gone, if the hard disk is corrupted, corrupted, now what happened, right? You need to even recover it actually. and even recover the data, recover the software, recover the data, recover the software. Everything you need to do by your own actually. So now what happened, right? Why I'm saying this? Because that this has a lot of challenges, guys. Actually, it has a lot of challenges. It means that maintaining a software, installing it, following the instructions and everything, it is very, very difficult because it is a desktop application. So as and when the things were getting progress further, what happened, right? We came across with something known as a web applications. It means that all your applications, all applications are hosted in some servers. That we call it as something like an application server. It means that, like for example, you say that Rajesh, I want to open an Excel sheet, right? So what you will do, I will go locally, go here like this, okay, give new. Then you could see that I have what Microsoft. So I'm locally launching this worksheet here itself in my system like this. Now you say that, okay, this is locally. Assume that I don't want to use this locally. I want to use, okay, I want to use it online, or I want to use it in web actually. What you will do, you'll go here. See, in a Google, what you will do that, you'll just say sheets.google.com. See, you open it. See, can you open it? Now what happened, right? Your Excel sheet has opened here, fine. So somewhere it is through somewhere you are no, through some web it is getting opened. You're not really bothered about the upgrade about this Excels, right? In your system you had 2016. Okay, you need to upgrade, take care of upgrade in 2010. But here through the web you are doing it actually. So you could see that you can nicely create a table. You can write the rows and columns. You can do it. You can save it. You can do multiple work here in the through the online. So you're not really worried about the data because you don't know where the data is stored, how it is stored. You're not really worried, or you're not really much concerned about this. That is first point. So there is no chance of even failure also. It means that it is nothing like you are managing the storage. This file is stored in some location where we are not bothered, we are not concerned. Okay, it is stored somewhere else. Okay, my data is safe. Okay, there is no need of even upgrading the system also, and you need not to install all this application locally. So how all this happens with the help of a web applications. So as technology progressed, we moved out from the desktop application to the web application. Is it clear, Lawrence? Is it clear, Rudra? Whatever I'm saying you, does it make
Yes,
sense?
yes. That's
Earlier
the
we were
reason.
earlier we had a desktop application. Now we are slowly moved to the web application. Now you see that almost the whole globe, whichever software is built, every software is running through the web only. Without web, nobody will try to. Without a web, it doesn't work out at all. You cannot install it locally. Everything is there in some server, and through some web, you are accessing that application. Yes, sir. You have some doubt?
Yes, Microsoft Office 365 is the best example for that, right?
Yes. Microsoft 365. Yes. Correct. You're right. So we have moved it. Fine. Correct. So that's the reason what happened, guys. We need to first learn about the client and server architecture. First, we'll understand this, and then we'll slowly move to the 3-tier architecture, or we call the N-tier architecture, whatever, right? We have to slowly move towards that. Now, coming here, okay. So now we have a client and server architecture. Good. Now, so you know that whenever you have a client and server architecture, there is something known as a client. So what is a client basically? Suppose assume that I switch on my system. I switch on system. What usually you do? As soon as switch on system, you'll go and you'll open some browser like Google Chrome browser or anything, and you'll just a simple say google.com like that. Either you might be checking whether internet connectivity is there or not in the system. Yes, the google.com is loaded actually. So what happened, right? Through a Chrome, which is nothing but your browser, through a browser, you are actually trying to do some kind of an operation. So this browser will act like a client. It acts like a client. So what we have here, guys, we have something known as there is some machine or there is some server where your client is installed. This is some machine, right? Server, we say, where we call it as a client. Okay. So the best example is nothing but your browser. BROWSER. Browser is nothing but your client, okay, which is nothing but your Google Chrome, and you usually you hit some application, right? Like you say, Rajesh, I want to click the google.com. So through your browser, you're actually hitting this google.com. So what happened, right? Some operation happens in the backend, and you could see that this web page is loaded, right? So through that also you are trying to check your connectivity, whether your internet availability is there in your system or not, right? Now, but guys, what exactly the client do, or what as a user you're doing? Because through a browser you are actually requesting for some resources. So when I'm hitting here google.com or facebook.com, what exactly as a user, as an end user, you are doing? You're actually asking for some resources, or you're requesting for some resource. What is that resource? Oh, you said, Rajesh, let the google.com page get open. Let my application run. Let the facebook.com open. That is the request you are doing it actually. So that's the reason we say that always at the client end, guys, always you are only asking. Asking for what? Asking for that which resource is required. Which or we or client is something like which requests for the resources actually. Which requests for the resources. Resources or resources. Correct? You agree with me? Right. Now what happened, right? In the other end, we have something known as a server. This we call it as a server. So server is a machine. It's a machine which will always be giving. So this is asking and this is giving. This is giving this. So always server will serve the request or serves the client request, we say. So it is always a giver. So what it does actually, which respond to the request. Correct? Which respond to the request like that. So what it will do here, right? Always the client will try to connect to the server like this, right? Let me add something like some color. Okay. And the server will respond, sorry. The server will always respond to that request like this. This is a very, very simple architecture. Client and server architecture. Clear? Now, you know that actually, guys, whenever you have, this is nothing but the machine or the server where the client is hosted, where the client is running, your browser, we say, and this is a server where actually your application is running. So here in the server, some kind of an application is hosted here, and that application is actually responding for your request actually. Right? So if you broadly see it in a very high level, you understand that these are some two different machines which are communicating with each other over a network, we say. Over a network. It means that there is something as a networking. There is some network concept comes, which we are not really worried about. How the request goes here, how it get connected, and all those are networking stuff which we are not really bothered at this point of time. Okay, but you have to understand that actually there's something as a client, there's something as a server, and these are some two separate machines are there, and this we call it as a devices, machines or devices. So devices are nothing but these are the words which we use in the networking devices. Right. So we say that, Rajesh, how many number of what are the different devices are there over the network? You will say that, sir, we have a switch, we have a router, we have a hub, we have we have many devices, right? And all those devices are connected over in the network itself, right? And each and everything is identified as a device only. How device to device communication happen? With the help of an IP address. With the help of an IP address only, the one device can communicate either with the help of an IP address or with the help of a host name. Right? So that's what we use this client and server on the, but these are the servers or the machine, or we call it as a devices. These are very, very common terms which we use in our day-to-day activity. Correct? Now, the question comes, sir, this is the client and server architecture. Fine, good actually. How many different types or what are the different architectures we have? This is the basic simple architecture. So we have the architecture like one-tier architecture, two-tier architecture, and three-tier architecture. Correct? Broadly, we say that, Rajesh, these are the three types of architectures we have. Very good. These are the three architectures: one tier, two tier, and three tier architectures. Right? So, what is one tier architecture? So, let us understand. It is very simple. Okay. All these are very simple. One tier architecture. One tier architecture. Now assume that actually in the one-time architecture, assume that like in our group, like in today, like Patil is there, Lawrence, there are many people are there. Assume that actually Lawrence is there. Lawrence is having his own machine. Assume that, okay, this is the machine or this is his laptop. So this is the laptop, okay, and this is nothing but the Lawrence laptop. And Lawrence is actually basically he is a developer actually. Lawrence is a developer. He is a developer. So what the Lawrence will do that Lawrence want to uh, write an application and host that application. So what Lawrence will do, he will take his laptop. This is his laptop. This is his device or the laptop. We say device or the laptop. Okay, it is his machine actually. Okay, this is not but this is the Lawrence laptop actually. You can say that Lawrence laptop, his own personal laptop. Now what Lawrence will do that Lawrence has developed some applications, some gaming applications developed it. Now what Lawrence will do that Lawrence will try to host that application in his machine only. He will host the gaming application. And Lawrence itself, it means that he has hosted means he has hosted in his local machine, local hosting. In his local machine, he has hosted that application. Means he has deployed that application. Now what happened that Lawrence want to use this application. So what it will do that he will launch that application. Right. So here in this case, Lawrence itself will act like a client, and the client is there in the same machine. Even the server is also there in the same machine, or the server application is also there in the same machine. So what happened that here he is making use of this application within his own laptop. He is a guy who has a access to it because he has deployed, he has hosted that application in the single system, which is his laptop. Now assume that suppose somebody want to access this application from the outside. Suppose Rajesh want to come and access this application. Okay. Or Rudra want to access, or Patil want to access. Do you think that they can access this application? No, they cannot access it because Lawrence has developed and everything, and he has hosted or deployed in his own local laptop only. He only has an authority to access. Nobody from the outside cannot access that application. So guys, what happened, right? So this is one-tier architecture where the client and server act in the same system only. So this is predominantly used by always the developer. Developer will first, whenever he writes an application, he will test all his application by installing locally in his machine only, where nobody can access that application. It's just like he has deployed, he want to do the testing. So he will do everything within his own machine only. So now what happened, like in the one-tier architecture, apart from him, nobody from the outside world cannot access it. Over the internet, nobody can access it. So do we think that this architecture is beneficial when we are working today? No, it is not at all beneficial because nowadays all the applications are hosted in some application server and we give access that application over the network to all other clients or the customers, right? So you cannot use or you cannot have one-tier architecture in the production mode. It is not possible. So one-tier architecture is actually a dead architecture. It is a dead architecture. We don't use this. It is a dead architecture. It is a dead architecture. Correct? It's a dead architecture. We don't use it actually. So hence what happened, right? Slowly we try to move to the next architecture, which is nothing but the two-tier architecture. So in the two-tier architecture, guys, in the two-tier architecture, we have two layers, we say. One is a server layer and other is something as a client layer. So let me write down. So in the two-tier architecture, okay, the two-tier architecture, this is our two-tier architecture. Okay, here we have a machine we have a server. So in this server, guys, right? This is basically a server. In this server, so this we call it as a server machine. In this server, what you have that it is basically like you have an hardware. You have a hardware. And on top of the hardware, you know that we have an operating system. We have an operating system also. Either Windows or Linux or anything, whatever operating, we have some operating system within this server actually. On top of this operating system, what you will do, you will try to install some applications. Assume that you are applying or you are deploying some application actually. So some application is deployed. And that application, it could be either written in Java, or either it is written in PHP, or either it could be written in .NET, or it could be written in Node.js, anything actually. So some applications written in some language where you have deployed that application into this machine. And as you know that whenever the application is deployed, all the data of your application, okay, it has to be stored in somewhere. So where it has to get stored, it has to get stored in some database. Even database also you are installing the same system. Database also is installed here only. So which is the database you will be installing? Either you will be installing the MySQL, or you will be using SQL, or you will be using the MariaDB or anything. So any database you will install it, so that what happened, whenever the application is running, application will try to store all the data into the database actually like this. So guys, in case of two-tier architecture, you could see that actually that the application and the database, everything you are installing in a single system or in a single machine. Now the point here is that actually that in your application server, assume that my assume that my server is having some, I'm just saying some 16 GB of RAM. Some 16 GB of RAM I'm having. Okay, and 100 GB of hard drive. What is happening? Some 60 GB of RAM and 100 GB hard disk you're having. Hard drive you're having. Assume that, okay, assume that your application needs some 10 GB to run. I'm just taking hypothetically, I'm checking. Okay, it needs some 10 GB of RAM to run. And your database needs around 6 GB of RAM to run. It should be other way around, because database, right, sometimes it consumes more memory. Assume that the database it needs a 16 GB of RAM memory. Okay, 6 GB of RAM. Where is the space? Because your system itself has a 16 GB. If you try to give application 10 GB and 10 GB and 6 GB to the database, what about the operating system? Operating system also needs some memory, no? Where you are giving a memory to operating system? So what happened, right? Always there's a tug of war between the applications and the database here. Because if you are having in a single system, in a single server where you have limited memory, always there will be a tug of war between the application server and the database server, because both will try to make use of as much as memory as possible. So in that case, what happened, right? You might see that either your system will be slow, or your server might come down. The application might not be up running. Your database might not be performing very well if you are having in a two-tier architecture. It means that if you are installing the application and database in both in the same server, you will try to find many issues. Even it's not only memory. It's something like if your system is having something like a two CPUs, it needs actually, right? It needs to be. Suppose sometime application might need more than one CPU, or the database might need more than one CPU. Then what happened that you need to upgrade your system. It means that it is having two CPU, now you have to increase to four CPU or six CPU or whatever might be. So always there will be a resource crunch. Will always be there if you are hosting both applications and database in the same server. Correct. So this is nothing but we call it as a server layer. This we call it as a server layer, right? So to access this, guys, you have something. It's a client layer. Client layer is nothing but your browser. Client layer is nothing but your browser. So like this is nothing but like client. Client. Right? So always client will always try to access the server like this. Client will always access the server. Client will connect to this server like this. Client will connect to the server and it accesses that application like this. N number of client can connect to the same server, right? Sorry, my diagram is bad, but you can understand that, okay, the two-tier architecture, you have multiple clients where they can connect to the same some server, sorry. But in this server, guys, as I said, right, you will have both application database installed in the same stream. Now, the point here is that actually that I need to ask you one important thing. So, as I said, right, both of this application database will always be fighting for the resources. Or if they need for some resources, and if your system or server is not able to provide the resources, whatever it needed by the database or the application, your server will come down. Or you will see there is some, you might have heard about some wording, something like, sir, my application got crashed or my database got crashed, or you'll say crash word. You will say that my system is lagging, actually, it is very slow. Some slowdown happened, you will use this word. This is some kind of a terminology we use always, right? Something like a hang, bad performance. No, my application is not performing well, sir, you say. It's very slow in response. There is something like a downtime, or some you use something as a latency issues, something. These are some kind of a terminology you use it wherever, whenever you see such kind of thing where the server is not responding properly. Right. Now, the point here is that, guys, actually, the point here is that now the very important point is here is that actually that, like, for example, your database and the applications uh, are hosted or deployed in the same server. It means that there will be some kind of a security threats. There will be a security breaches or security threats will be there. Assume that actually that over the communication, some third person and hacker will try to hack this server. So as soon as he hacks this server or the application, he can also get all the real-time data. So with the help of a real-time data, he will be able to, like he will be able to get all the data, and there could be a very big security breach would be there. So having a database and the application both in the same server is not good for security, even for the security purpose also. Correct? Right? Now, do you think that, guys, that this two-tier architecture is applicable for the production environment? No, it is not applicable for the production environment. It is only applicable for the developer environment or the test environment, right? It is not applicable to the production environment. So we have various environments, right? Usually in the companies, you have various environment like dev environment, test environment, UAT environment, right? So in case of a dev environment or test environment, yeah, there you're doing some testing purpose. You can install the database and you can install the application both in the same server. That is for testing purpose. But in the production environment, you cannot take a chance. You cannot install both the things in the same server. You have to have a different servers. In one server, you will have an application being hosted. In the other server, where you have installed and deployed your database. Correct? So what you have to say that in the two-tier, there is high chances that your server will be hacked and there will be some kind of a security breach or security threats. Hence, what happened, we should never have a two-tier architecture where you are installing both application database in the same server. It is not advisable. So now what you say, sir, let us now move to the three-tier architecture. We say. Three-tier is a best architecture, we say, and we have to always use a three-tier architecture. So let us understand now what is a three-tier architecture. That's the next one. So three-tier architecture. So guys, in the three-tier architecture, we have three layers. One is a client layer, and other is an application layer, and last is a database layer, right? So let me do one thing from the previous diagram. Let me copy the client layer so that I need not to type it again. I need not to draw it again, sorry. So this I have. This is the client layer. Good. Right. And now what happened, right? You have an application layer here. I'll draw it here. Application layer. So in the application, the same thing. Like whatever we have, I can refer in the previous diagram again. Let me copy it. I need not to redraw it again. I mean, yeah. So where this is nothing but your. So let me remove certain things here. Okay, let me remove all these things. What happened? What happened? Let me draw it. Sorry.
I think it's came like image, right? So
It's coming to the image actually. So same things. You have a hardware, you have an operating system, and you have an application layer. Okay. Now you have hardware, same thing. Here you have an operating system, and you have an application layer. And you know that the application is either written in Java or .NET, or your Python, any language. You might have used any language to code an application. So this is nothing but your application layer, or we even call it as a what do you say, business logic layer actually. Business logic layer. Even for the client layer, right? We even call it as a presentation layer actually. Call it as a presentation layer. Right. So this we call it as an application layer, or we call it as a application server. Good. Now, so you have a separate server for your database layer. For a database layer, let me take some other color. Yeah. So this is nothing but your database layer. Or we call it as a DB layer also. Right. Database server. So this is nothing but your hardware. This is nothing but your operating system. Right. And here is what you have installed or you have deployed your database. So your database could be a MySQL or SQL or Oracle, whatever. And you know that actually each and every server has its own resources, right? Here in this system, if it is having a 16 GB of your RAM memory and 100 GB of hard drive, right? 100 GB of hard drive. So what happened, guys? So most of the RAM memory or the hard disk will be given for that application. So the health of the application, or there will not be health of the application will be good. The resource crunch will not be there. If you have installed these two components, application and database, in a separate server, right? So whatever the problem which you had faced in 2-tier, we won't find that issue in 3-tier architecture. Correct? And you know that whenever the application want to communicate with your database, actually, so it can communicate with the database. How exactly it communicates? It communicates via with the help of some kind of a connection strings. Okay, DB connection strings we say. So what happens here in case of here, like the client will communicate with your application, right? It will try to communicate with your application, and your application will finally connect to your client, or it communicates with the database, right? How the application comes to database, we need not to really worry about right now. You have to just understand through some kind of a connection pool, database connection pool, or database connection pool, or database connection string we say. Through some database connection string, what happened, right? The application will usually communicate with the database. So what is this? We'll see later. Clear, guys? Okay. 1 second. 1 second, guys. Sorry, guys. Okay. So now, so what we can do it, right, guys? For example, here, what happened, right? You have what is an application server? So I can write it down here saying that the server where the application is hosted is called as application server. Correct? What is the database server? The server where the database is installed, okay, or where the data are stored. So that server, we call it as a database server, right? And how this communicate each other, how this application or nothing but your application server will communicate with a database server. Application server will communicate a data server with the help of an IP address, right? So basically, these are two devices or two servers or two machines where they communicate to each other over the network with the help of an IP address, right? So device communication with each other with the IP address. Correct, guys? With IP address. Now, what is an IP address? IP address, but what is the full form of IP? Means Internet Protocol, okay? So what is an Internet Protocol? Each and every server, each and every machine will have a unique IP address, we say. It's a unique identification given for a particular device in a network. So what exactly IP address? IP address full form is Internet Protocol. Correct? So it is a unique identification for a device in the network. Correct, guys? Okay. Anything else is there to be addressed here? Okay. What is the host name? Host name of the server name we say host name. But the name of this server. Every server has a name also. That we call the host name. Is it clear till here? So all the clients, whenever the client would access this application, all the clients will try to send a request to your application server only. It always sends a request to the application server only. It always sends to the applications. Correct? So guys, now the question comes. So it's a question to everyone. Okay, it's a question to everyone now. Is that whether this application server it should have a public IP or the private IP?
Private IP, Rajesh.
Private IP. If it is a private IP, then the servers or the clients, right, they cannot access it, right? Because suppose your client is over the internet. Do you
Yeah.
think that he can able to access his application? No, he cannot access that application. Right. And if you are making this application server as a private, or if you are providing a private IP address so that the client can connect to it, then there will be a security breach. Right. Because you are exposing your application to everyone. Then what happened by giving a public IP? The problem is that, right, anybody can access the application server and they can even take the code of your application, or they can even harm your application server, right? So always what happened, guys, whenever you are having an application server and database server, you cannot expose it to a public. You cannot expose to the outside world, to the over the internet. You cannot expose it. Always the application server or the database server should always be private. It should be in a private subnet, or because we have to, or else we say that it should always possess or should always have a private IP. Right now, if it is a private IP, then how the outside client or over the internet he can access that application then? So that's the reason, guys, what we have, that we have one more layer, which we call it as something like we have one more server, we call it as a web server. So we have a web server. So what will happen that, okay, let me, why it is happening like this? What happened? Okay, so I'm not able to, fine. So I have one more layer, okay, one more layer, which okay, we have this, we call it as a web server. This is a web server. So here what happened, for the web server, always you can provide a public IP. Your web server can be exposed to the public. Okay, whereas this two will always be private. Will always be private IP address, or over the private network, you can say. Right. So now, what exactly your web server is actually? So web server is something like, you have to say that the web server, this is the web server. Let me rub it something here. Oh, okay. There is something, it is not plainly taking it actually. Okay, there is some issues there actually. Okay. Okay, it is not taking, guys. Sorry. There is something that I have to. Okay, I will check it out later. So what I'm saying that this is nothing but your web server. In the web server, guys, what happen usually, like, you'll always maintain the configuration files. One second, guys. Sorry, guys. Okay. So now what happened, guys? This is a configuration file. So it means that usually web server, in the website, does your application will be hosted? No, the application will never get hosted in your web server. Only the configuration file should be there. So what are those web servers? Usually we have a web server like Apache web server or Nginx web server. What the web server will do, it always takes a request from the client and redirect it to the application server. That's all. So what the web server will do, web server will always takes the request. Let me write down here because we don't have a space. Web server, it takes the requests from the client and redirect to the application server. And you know that the most famous web servers are Apache servers or Nginx servers. Nowadays, I mean, most of the organizations are using Nginx web server, right? So this web server, which is nothing but the Nginx or Apache server, this acts like a queue manager. It acts like a queue manager. It means that a lot of requests which are coming over the client, it is not one kind. It could be some 100 clients or 1,000 clients. All the requests your web server will take into it. And then what happened, right? It will redirect each and every request to the particular application server. So now you might say, sir, if this is the only one web server, if this goes down, what will happen? So that's the reason, guys, you will have multiple web servers. It's not only one web server. You will have multiple web servers. It means that if one web server fails, the other will take care of it. So that's it. It is not it is only 3-tier. Now we call it as a n-tier application. It means that you have more than 3-tier. We have more than 3 layers. It is called a n-tier architecture. Clear? So what I have to say that, so web server doesn't have the application. It doesn't have any data related to application. It only has some configuration files. Okay, fine. Now what the web server will do, it always takes a request from the client and it always redirect to the server. That is the only operation where web server does? No, it does many other operations also. But right now, in a very high level, you understand that it just redirect the request actually. So web server act like a queue manager. As n number of clients are getting connected, right? It acts like a queue manager. You see, like for example, if you go to a very big restaurant, like a lot of people go to the restaurant, right? One person will be standing, a main person will be standing, right? Right. As soon as you enter along with the family, right, he will redirect to you, sir, go and sit into the table. Some other customers will come, sir, you please go and sit in the table. Some people will come who have already reserved a seat. He will say that, sir, your seat is reserved, sir, go and sit into that table, like that. He redirect, right? He redirect to a particular tables, right? So he acts like a queue manager where he will redirect whoever is coming into the hotel, right? So he will just redirect, go and sit into the table, like that. So same thing, what happened, web server will redirect that request to the application server. Okay, so as I said earlier, guys, your application server should always be application server and your database server should always be in a private network. Correct? Okay, guys. So this is all about the 3-tier, or we call it the entire architecture. Of course, like here, what happened, guys? You have something, the load balancer would come to the picture actually, right? So before the web server, here one more layer will come. Here we call it as a load balancer, like this. A lot of load balancer will come. So it means that as soon as any client hits the request, it will go to the load balancer. Through the load balancer, the request goes to the web server, and through the web server, the request goes to the client, like this. Sorry, application server, like this it happens. So right now, I'm not really introducing this load balancer. Later, we will talk about this load balancer. But broadly speaking, these are the entire, the 4-tier architecture. Clear? Clear, guys? So now, what we are going to do now, guys, this is what we have understood now. What we are going to do now, we are going to now, okay, have a database server, have an application server, have a web server. We will try to install it manually. Okay, we will create this, we'll create this 3-tier architecture manually. Okay, how to install and how to do it, and then later we'll write a script for that, so that we are doing some kind of an automation here, right? So what we're doing here, so now we will try to install the web server and the application server and database server. So for that, what I will do, guys, I will try to, I already have a server here. Can you see here? I already have a server here, which is CentOS server. So let me use the CentOS itself, CentOS 8 itself. Okay, where I will install all these three servers, web server, application server, database. I will try to install all these things in the same single machine. I will not take a separate machine. Okay, I will install the same machine just to show you, okay, how installation happens. Later you can even change, like, I mean, you have to install application server means you should have a particular server where you are only installing application server. You should have a particular server where you're installing database server. But as of now, as for our experiment, what we do, we will consider only one machine where we are doing everything. Clear? So for our database server, we will install the MariaDB. Okay. So basically, guys, MariaDB, basically it originated from the MySQL, because the MySQL database, right? MySQL was an open source. Later, they made it as an enterprise version. So what happened, right? Some of the people who were working for the MySQL, right? They came out from that organization and they started their own organization. They took the free source code of the MySQL, whatever they had, right? They came up with the MariaDB. So whatever the MySQL commands are there, whatever you have, right? Most of the commands work even for the MariaDB also. So MariaDB is an open source. MySQL, it's an open source, but you have an enterprise version also. So MariaDB we can use actually. For the application server, what we'll be doing that we will be using installing a Tomcat server. Tomcat application server. For your web server, we will be using the Nginx. Nginx. Clear? Now, what are the things you need? Like, for example, for the MariaDB, for your application server, I need to have a Tomcat, right? For the Tomcat, the dependency is that actually, like, you need to install the Java. Java is required. The prerequisite for the Tomcat is that it needs the Java. So what I will do here, because I have an application which is written in the Java 8, so I will try to install the Java 8 version. 8 version in the machine. Correct? After that, what happened, right? So that is one thing. And here for the database, what I will do, right? Database, I will try to create the database. What I will do, since my application, whatever the application is written, right? It is like a student application. It's a student app where he will try to store some data information, like in which year he passed out, what is the roll number. So we have an application where it stores some data about the student's profile. So now what happened, right? You need to create some students data. You need to update the data. You need to delete the data. You will be doing a lot of operations onto the database, right? By creating a database and creating a tables. In the table, you will be inserting a lot of data, right? You will be doing a lot of CRUD operation, we say. What to say? You will be doing a lot of CRUD operations. Create, okay, update, delete, view, all those things, CRUD methods or CRUD operations you do actually, right, onto the database. So what I will do here, I will create some student app database, and within that, I will create a student tables like that. And in the table, I will try to insert all the data. Whatever this application does, right, it will try to insert some data into the table actually, into that student table. That's what I will do. So what we will be doing here, what it does, the major operation, something like it will create the student. Okay, it creates the student data. If you want to update anything later, you want to edit anything, you can update also. You can even view also. We can even delete the data also. All these things we call it as a CRUD method. We say CRUD, CRUD operations. So now what we'll do, guys, we will try to install the MariaDB. Before installing, okay, what we'll do, we'll install the MariaDB. Now I have already logged into this system. Okay, now to install the MariaDB, what I have to do that? So let me first do the first step. So I'm doing it everything manually now, manual steps now. Manual steps of how to install the MariaDB. So for installing the MariaDB, I will just blindly follow the Google. I will just go to the Google and I will try to search for MariaDB server install in CentOS 8. Like that, I will search for it. Okay, so you will get some official site, mariadb.com. Let us go there. Let us see what is the command we have to do it. So here they are saying that MariaDB. So this is the command which they are using it actually. Okay, so what I will do, I'll copy paste it here. First one. So let me first install the MariaDB. So what is the first step, guys? Install the package. So what is it? This is the command actually. Okay, this is a command. Now, guys, for doing all these things, let me do one thing. Let me switch over to the root user and do it. Don't do it as a normal user. So, okay, let me do everything as a root user only. That is one requirement. So now what I will do that I will try to copy this command and I will try to just run this with the -y option. So let's see. So it is updating. Yes, it is updating the package something, and now it is trying to install it actually. So once you install it, guys, so what you have to do that you need to start the MariaDB service. For that, you need to run a systemctl command. Systemctl start MariaDB. Okay, and even you do a systemctl enable MariaDB. Enable it so that even after rebooting the system, this database will be restarted automatically if you enable it. And then you can do a systemctl status MariaDB. MARIA, right? So what you can do that, I will just copy paste these commands so that you are aware. So after installing it, what you're doing, you are starting the services as well as what happened that you are checking the service. Clear till here? Okay, good. Now, so it is started fine. Now, guys, whenever you have installed the database here, that is a MariaDB, you need to have some kind of a client to connect actually. So usually what happened, right? Whenever you're installing a MariaDB, by default, what happened, even the MySQL client will also get installed it. You need not to separately install it actually. You need not to separately install it. So for that, what you have to do that, you have to just run a MySQL command. If you execute the MySQL command, can you see you have now entered into the MariaDB. So it means that MySQL is just like a client. Through this client, you are entering into your MariaDB. MySQL is a package which is already installed as a client, I have to say. So let me write it down here. So as part of this, as part of installing a MariaDB server, even MySQL package as a client is also installed. Clear? That you have to, that anyhow, you need not to separately install it, it will get installed by default. That's the reason if I execute the MySQL, you could see that you have entered into this, into the MariaDB. Clear? Now, after that, what you're going to do, guys, you can execute some basic commands. Basic commands, MySQL command. What is that? Show databases. See, show databases. Oh, sorry. I think sorry. I need to exit here. Sorry. Show databases. See, you could see that already. It is showing you that there are some default databases are already there in your system, in the system. Clear? Is it clear till here? Right? Now you want to get into, suppose you want to create some database, right? For example, you want to create a database actually. How to do it, everything I will show after some time. Don't worry now. Now, as of now, you understand, okay, all the commands are executing actually. It is perfectly working fine. Now, let me quit from it. I'll just say quit and I'll come out from this. So let me copy paste even this also, so that if you execute the show database, it is showing you. Clear? Okay, fine. Good. Till here, okay, we have installed the MariaDB. Everything is fine. Okay. Later we will see how to create the table, how to how to create a database, our own requirement database, how to create tables, and all we'll see later. Don't worry now. So as of now, what we did, right? We try to install the MariaDB. That's all. Now the next thing that what we are doing that I need to install the Tomcat server. So as I said earlier, guys, I will be installing everything in the same system only, in the same machine only. I'll be installing it actually. So for the Tomcat, what you're doing that you need to download the Tomcat package and install it. What I'll go to the Google and I'll just say something like Tomcat what is the latest now? Tomcat 9 download? Yes, Tomcat 9 download. So if you say Tomcat 9 download, and you can go to the official website, tomcat.apache.org, go here. And if you come down, you could see that the latest version is 9.0.82. This is the latest version what we're having. So I need to download this package. If you go here, can you see there's a data.dz is there. So what you will do that, you will just copy the link address. Copy the link address. And then what happened, guys? You need to come over here in the system. So let it be root user. Let me check whether I have a wget command. Yes, I have a wget command. If you don't have it, you know that I have to use a sudo yum install wget. That command you need it means you have to install that package like this. Since we already have this package installed, so I need to install it again. So wget command is already there. I'll just say wget space and I will try to copy this whole thing. So I just copied what I did here. I went here. I went to the dot.dz, just highlight there, just do a right click on top of this, copy this link address, come over to the server, do a wget space and paste this entire line and say enter. Now you could see that, guys, you have downloaded the Tomcat. So it is in a .gz. What you have to do that, you have to extract it tar-xvf and say Apache hyphen dot, give the complete .zip file. So it has extracted it. It has extracted it. Now you say ls. Can you see after extracting, it has created a directory with the name Apache-Tomcat-9.0.85. Same thing, it has extracted it. You got this directory. Get inside the directory Apache-Tomcat and enter and do ls-l. Can you see that it is having some important files? What are those files it has? It has a bin, it has a conf, it has a lib, it has a log, and also it has some important directories of web apps. So web app is a directory, guys, where you need to place your war file or your application war file has to be inside this web app directory. Right? Bin directory where you have a startup script, shutdown scripts.sh, startup.sh. Those start and stop scripts are there in bin directory. Conf directory, you have a configuration files. So one of the important configuration file is context.xml. If you go to the cd to the conf, enter and say ls, you see there's a file by name context.xml. Yes, this is one of the very important file. Why it is used, I will tell you later, but we have this file. Okay. Now you go to the bin directory. Under the bin directory, you have a sh, you have a startup.sh, shutdown.sh. These are the two script files which you'll be using for starting and stopping the Tomcat server. After this, come out from here, you have lib all your libraries or all your jar files or your drivers are there under the lib directories. You could see that there are so many jar files of the drivers are there. Fine. Okay. Come out and you could see that this is a logs directory. If you get inside a logs directory, can you see inside there is a file by name, important file by name. Okay, there's no .out, but when you start the server, you will see that the katina.out file will be created. Log file will be created. Katina.log file will be created. Right. So like that, you have various different addresses. And if you go to the web apps directory, here is where you need to place your application. Means whatever I have, the student.war file, right? That I have to come and place it here. Right now, the question comes, sir, you have installed the Tomcat server, fine, sir, but the prerequisite that it needs a Java, right? Without Java, the Tomcat will never work. You have to install the Java also. Yes. For installing the Java, what you will do, guys, you have to go and you have to just say that because my application is written in the Java 8, actually, I need to install. So Java 8 install in CentOS. Search for Java 8 install. So you can go to any site here. Okay, I'll go to the phoenixnap.com. This website I'm going, and if you come down here, can you see here? So here it is showing you for Java 11. I don't need Java 11. I need a Java 8. For installing Java 8, you have sudo yum install java-1.8. Yes, I can have this package. So I'll copy this, come over here, and try to run this package. Run this command and say -y. So this will install your Java 8. So let me run this command. So Java is installed. So Java is installed. How you verify? I can just say Java-FN version. Let's enter. Sorry, hyphen version, not -FN, hyphen version. Or just say -v. So you could see that it shows that your Java 1.8 is installed in your system, right? It is there. So this is what the command is. So what is the command you have to use, guys? You have to use a command sudo. So this is the command you have to install. Sorry, you have to use this command to install your Java. So I need to install 8 only because my application is written in a Java 8, right? So for the Tomcat, what I have to do that? Download the Tomcat package, Tomcat 8, Tomcat 9, Tomcat 9 from the official website. Okay, so how do you do that? You have to use the wget command, right? So first you have to use a wget command. So what command we used? We used this command actually, right? So this is a command I have to use. After that, what you have to do? You have to extract it actually. You have to extract it. Extract the .tar.gz package. How to extract it? You have to use a tar-xvf. Yeah, this is a command we have used it, right? Yeah. After extracting, what you do that? You have to install the Java. Install the Java 8. So how you install the Java 8, guys? So you have to just run this command. And then how to verify it, how to check? I have to just say Java-version. Like this. Clear? So this is very simple actually. Right. So now once you have installed the Java, once you have installed the Tomcat, what we'll do that we will start the Tomcat service. How we are going to start the Tomcat service? We will go to this directory Apache-Tomcat 9.8.02. Then get inside, you have a bin directory. And here you could see that there is something like startup.sh. I'll just say sh space startup.sh and enter. Now, can you see that Tomcat has been started? Okay, how to verify that? What you can do, guys, you can come out from the bin directory and you could see that there's a logs directory. Go to the logs directory and say ls-ltr. Can you see there's something like katina.out is there? What you can do a tail minus 100f and just say the file catalina.out. Now you say enter. You see here at the end, your server is up in so and so second, right? And if you just scroll up, actually nothing is there. So it is showing you all the logs, and finally you should be able to see that the server has started up. Now you could see that the server has started up and the Tomcat is using the port number 8080. So it is running onto the port number 8080. Okay. Or else you have to check, means what you have to do, that you have to install the net stat command, right? So for doing that, you have to just say sudo yum install net stat package. You have to install it. Okay. I think it is not net stat. You have to use a net tools -y. This is the package. Sorry. Oh, it's already installed. Okay. It means that I have a command. So when I do a net stat command hyphen LNTP or TLNP. This is the option you have to. Sorry, guys. Very sorry. Net stat. Yeah. Can you see here? Actually, Java, right? See, it is listening and it is listening to the port number 8080. It means that your application is running onto the port number 8080. So what you can do here, you can go here, you can go to the server, copy this public IP, the CentOS public IP, and you can just open the browser, copy paste, and just say :8080 and say enter. Now you could see that your application should be running. See, can you see that the Tomcat, the default Tomcat web page has been loaded. So it signifies that your Tomcat server is up and running. So if this page is loaded and if you're able to see this page, if you're able to see this page, then it is confirmed that the Tomcat is up and running. Is it fine, guys? Till here, are you okay? Lawrence, Suraj, Patil, any doubts you have?
Fine.
So because your Tomcat server is running in the port number 80, you have to say :port number 8080, you have to do like this. And this is the public IP address of the server where your Tomcat is running actually. Okay. Now. Okay. What else you have? Okay. Now coming back to here. So Tomcat is fine. Tomcat is up and running. Very good. Now what we will do, that we will go back again to our MariaDB. What I will do, I will just do I think, guys, I need to copy paste some commands so that anyway, this is the package you have to install, nettools-y. Okay, this is a package. If netstat command is not there, then you have to install the netstat with the help of a nettools. You will get a netstat command. So that you have to make sure actually. Okay, just to verify whether which is the port on which like it is running actually. After that, what I have to do that? You have to get into the bin directory. You have to get to the bin directory, and then get into the bin directory, see to the bin directory. Okay, and then you have to do a startup sh space startup .sh. So this will start the Tomcat server. It will start the Tomcat service or Tomcat server like that. Right? Now, clear, right? Now what we will do, I'll go to the MySQL now. Okay, I will let me run the MySQL client. So I'm into the I went inside your MariaDB. Now what I will do, I'll just say show databases. When I do a show databases, you could see that it will show all the default databases which is already there in the DB. Now you will say that, Rajesh, I want to create a new database or a new database schema by name student app. How you are going to do that? So there is a simple command, guys, by name creator is a command. That's a MySQL command. Database. Okay, create database. If not exists, student app. So when you execute this command, you could see that it has created a schema with the name student app. So how you check it? Show databases. If again run the show database and enter, can you see that it is showing you the student app? So student app schema has been created with this command, create database. So what I'll just copy paste this here. So what I will do here, I will go to the same section here only. I'll copy it like this, so that you'll get everything here. Okay. So now you have created a database, guys. Now you will say that, okay, the database is created, Rajesh. Now I want to get inside a database and I want to create a table. Okay. How to do it? You have to use the command use student app. Student app and say enter. As soon as you say use student app, you could see that you are inside that student app schema or student app database. Now, if you say as a show tables and say enter, can you see that? Okay, the tables are empty. There are no tables have been created. It means that this is the database. It is fine. It is there, but inside that there is no schema. There are no tables are available. Okay, now I need to create a table. Now I need to create a table. How to create a table? Oh, how to create a table? So what you can do, you can go to the Google. You can always take help from the Google only. So what you have to say, you have to just say that MySQL create tables. So when you just try to, if you're not aware, you can just always use the help of Google. MySQL create tables. You can go to any link, guys, but W3 schools are very good links. You can go to W3 schools. Here you could see that create tables and the table name, column, data type, column 2. So this is basically a syntax actually, which they're given. If you come down, they have given some examples. Create table person, okay, person ID, int, last name, varchar, first name, varchar. Okay, I can just copy this line. I can just simply copy this line and then come over here, paste it here like this and say enter. See, it has created a table. If I execute show tables, can you see here now it has created a table with the name persons like this. But my requirement is that I want to create a table with the name known as a student. So I can use the same format. Whatever you have this format here, right? If you go to the Google, whatever I have this command, right? I can paste the same, I can use the same command, guys. Actually, I have used the same command. I have to use the same command. I have to just replace with the person with the students, and then appropriately I need to provide the data types with all these rows and with all this, with all this, like. With the syntax I need to follow column data type, column 2 data type like that. So for that I need not to type it everything. What I have did, right? I already have created here. If you see here in the student table, if you see here, I already have created a table. Just to avoid the time, guys, I have created a table like this. So create table, if not exist student, what is the data type and what are the values of student ID? If not exist, okay, student name, student age, student qualification, student percentage, student year passed out, and primary key. These are some of the some of the properties which I have added within this table student. So let me copy this. Let me paste here also in our notepad, as well as the same command, guys. I will take and I will copy paste here also and say enter. So can you see here now? It has created one more table by name. It has created by name students. Very good. Now we got a table by name students. Is it clear till here, or you have any doubts?
Yeah, clear, Rajesh.
Yes,
So
yes,
now,
clear.
yes. Now what happened, guys? Now in our architecture, I mean, if you see it actually, this is my application server actually. This is my application server. In that, this is a server. This is a server where Tomcat is installed. Apache Tomcat is installed. Tomcat server is installed. Right. And also what happened? Tomcat is running. Right. Now, here in this Tomcat, we have something like web apps folder is there. Under the web apps, I will be placing some applications. Something I've written some student.war. This application is there. I will be hosting, or I'll be placing this application in the web apps actually later after some point of time. So, and again, I will restart the Tomcat server so that you will be able to access this application. Now, whenever this application, it want to store some data or it want to do some operations, all the data will be stored in the database. And here in this case, we have a MariaDB. So under the MariaDB, so assume that even though we have did in the same server, assume that I am having a separate database server. Assume that this is a separate database server is there. So what I have did here, guys, what here I have did, this is in this server, I have installed the MariaDB server, and I have even started the DB server also. And after that, as a client, I logged in it. I created a database by name students app. Database by name students app. Under that, I have created a table, and the table name is here is What is the table? The table name is what? It is students, like that. Now what happened, right? Whenever you are accessing the application, this application will access the application. This application want to write some data in database. It has to actually write into this table. But how this server actually can connect with the database server? How the server can connect to the database server? This application server can connect to the database or communicate with a database server with the help of a driver. So you need to even install MySQL connector driver. So where you'll be installing here only in the Tomcat server or in this place only you'll be installing, because with the help of the driver only your Tomcat server can communicate with your database. And one more very important, guys, like after I create after I created this student app schema database and student as a table, what I need to know, I need to grant all the privileges to the database actually. So what I will do here, I'll go to the Google and I'll just say, what is it I have to search for? I'm just looking for a command, grant all privileges. Okay, grant all privileges to on MySQL or onto the MariaDB. So let me check grant all privileges onto the MySQL. Is there any command? Is there? I want to look for the command. There is something command by name grant all something. Let me check. See, this is the command I need, guys. This is what the format. This is a command I need actually. If I copy it and I'll paste over here, this is a command. So first, what is the next is that actually you need to grant all privileges. To do that, actually, guys, I need to have this command, grant all privileges. So what it says that you are giving all the privileges for that particular database, okay, to the database. And what happened that with what username and what is your host name or the machine name, you need to mention all these details here actually. You need to mention all the details. What I will do, similarly, I will try to write a command for this. What I will do, I'll just say grant all grant all privileges on what is it, guys? My app is something like student app. Okay. Dot star to what is the username? Let me have a username by name student only. Okay. At the rate, let it we have the name as a local host. Okay. There is one more parameter is that something like a identified like that. Okay. If you see it here, grant all privileges identified like that you will get actually. Let me check if there is any other. Okay, grant all privileges to the root with grant option. Username password is root. Okay, root. Okay. One more is there. Where is it, guys? With all option flush. Yeah, here. This is what I need. Grant identified by something. So I have to use this identified by, give the password. So username is student, and what is the password? Let me give the password as something like student@1 as a password like this. So this is the command. So it means that you need to run this command here in your database. Here only you have to run the command. Clear, guys? So here what happened, right? You are actually connecting to the database with the help of the username student, and the password you're passing as a student to where, because I am actually running everything in the same machine itself. Here itself I have installed the Tomcat. Here itself I have installed MariaDB and everything. You need not to provide anything. You can just mention the local host. Suppose you have installed into some separate server like this where the MariaDB is installed. So then you need to provide the IP address of this as a parameter here. You have to mention the IP address of. Right here, you have to mention the IP address also. Since you are doing it everything in the same system, I will give it as a local. So what is the username? Student is the username. What is the password? student@1. This is the password. Clear? So what I will do now, I will try to just take this command. And come over here and just run this. Can you see here? It has granted all privileges. So let me copy this line and paste it over here. Clear? Good. So now, since, okay, so clear guys, is it clear for you all till here? I will
Yes,
take
yes.
another 15 minutes more and then we will wind up, because today we will not be able to write the script. Tomorrow only we'll write the script, but let me complete a few of the things so that you will get the understanding about everything. So here what happened, right? I have granted the privilege, fine. Now what I have to do that, Rajesh, I need an application where I need to, like copy that application. Okay, whatever the application which you are saying it, I need to copy it actually. So what I have did, if you, and also like whatever the driver you are saying, right? This driver, what are the driver is saying, that MySQL connected driver, that driver also you need. I can go and I can download a driver from the net, but I'm not doing it. Everything what happened, I have a ready-made everything with me. So what I will do here, guys, I'll go to my AWS account. In that AWS account, if you go to the S3 bucket, so if you go to the S3 service, there is something known as I have created a bucket by name shell scripting 01. If you click on it, can you see here? I have a MySQL connector, that one. Okay, and you have a student.var. So what I will do, I will just click on this and I will try to copy this URL and I'll come over here and I'll just firstly quit from this. Okay, and then what happened, I have extracted Apache here itself. Go to the web apps and do a wget of the whole student.var here. See, you have downloaded your student.var. After that, what you have to do now, you need to even download you need to even have your driver also. So for the driver, what I have to do that, I will go back and I have a lot of drivers are there, but you always try to choose the latest driver. So you could see that 8.0.11 is the latest jar driver. You have 5.1 also, which are very older. Let me go with the very latest only. Click on this, copy this object URL and come over here. Where you need to place your driver, guys, you need to come out from the web apps. There is something as a lib is there. Go to the lib directory. Here you need to do a wget of the complete. Right. So you need to, so you are downloading this MySQL connector. This is a driver here onto the lib directory only. So if you do an ls, you could see that you have downloaded that MySQL connector and you have kept it here. Clear? Now, the next question is that actually that Rajesh, that is all fine. Now, guys, whenever your application, it want to communicate with your database with the help of a driver, right? You should also give the information, right? Like to which database it has to connect, right? What is the username and the password, right? You are granted the every privilege, but the Tomcat server should know, right? So that's the reason what happened, guys. You need to, you need to edit the, if you come over here and if you come out from the lib and if you go to the conf directory, there is a file by name context.xml file. This file, what happened, guys, you need to add a resource here actually. What you have to add it, you come over here and just insert, go to, I have this one, see, resource name. This is what you need to add. Just, you need to just copy paste this. This is usually given by the developer. You need not to worry it. I need to just copy this whole thing, paste over here in this server. That's all. And save this file. Clear? So let me even give that also here. So so what I'm doing here, I'm trying to run some commands over here. Like for example, So okay, you have to do a CD web apps. So that you have to do, and then like you need to copy it actually. What you have to copy? You have to copy the student word bar. So even you can also do, guys, because I have kept everything as a public. Even tomorrow, if you want to do the same experiments, you can download. You can just give the same command. You can just do it in your system. It will work because I have made my entire. I have made the bucket S3 bucket as a public. So anybody can actually download this application. So after that, what happened? What I did, guys? After that, I went to the lib directory, and under the lib directory, I need to even copy that driver. So for that, what I did, like I did this command. Clear? MySQL connector Java driver. This is what you need to do a duplicate and you have to place it. That's all. Is it clear till here? So now what happened, guys? Now you need to restart the service. So come out from your conf directory, go to the bin directory, do a sh shutdown .sh. You need to shut down the application. So you have stopped the Tomcat service. And now again you have to start the service. Start sh space startup.sh. So you have started the application. You can go back to the logs, do a tail minus 50f or 100f minus 100f or 50f Catalina.out. And now you could see that your server has started again. So what you're going to do, how you want to verify the application is running or not? Go to your browser. Okay, go back to your service, EC2 service. And here, go back to your instance. Yes. Copy the public IP here. Copy the public IP, give colon 8080/student. Enter. Can you see that? Now my student application is running now. Is it clear, guys? Till here? So till here, we have to work. It means that, so even I have not installed the Nginx and all. So web server part I have not touched. Only the application server and the database server, and that too manually I have shown you. So will you be able to do all these things by your own now?
Yes, it's fine.
So in the next class, what we're going to do that we are going to continue from the installation of the Nginx and everything. First, we'll start with writing a script. Now I've did everything manually. I have all the steps. I have to just convert this manual steps into the script. That's all. And show you the Nginx installation and all. Same thing, write in a script and do it. And then finally, I have one script actually where I will, when I run the script, that script will try to install the database. It will create the tables. It will create database. It will create a table. It will add the privilege and everything. And you will also you will also install your drivers. You will also change the context.xml file, whatever you want to add this resource, right? This resource, whatever you have, right? This you have to even edit that file and then start the service, stop the service and everything. That script will take care of doing everything. So does it look interesting, guys? So now what you will do here, see here. So Rajesh, student name. Okay, Rajesh, address Bangalore, age 30, qualification B, percentage something 70%, year pass is 2015, and I'll say register. So sorry, unable to save the record. Why it is giving error? Okay. The driver classes.com/ the driver is automatically registered via SPI. Manual loading of the driver is generally unnecessary. Okay. It should work actually. Unknown column student ATTR in the field. Okay. Why it is not there? Something is missing, guys, here. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I missed it here. student underscore ADDR. Okay, come back here. Let me do one thing first. Let me stop the survey. I'll go to the bin and I'll shut down it. sh space shutdown dot sh. Now what I'll do, I'll go to the MySQL, show databases. I'll do one thing, drop, is it? Top databases, student app, SQL command. Okay, what is the command, sir? How to complete the database in MySQL. Drop, yeah. Drop database and the database name. Correct. Drop database name. Okay, now show databases. Okay, it is not there now. Create database student app. Use student app. Okay, now what I will do, let me save this one. Student ID. Let me copy this table again. Okay, now show tables. Okay, fine. Now what I will do, I will come here. Wait, go to the Apache, go to the bin directory, and just say SHK start app.sh. Okay, so I think it will start now. So I'll go here. Okay, it is running now. Okay, so let me check now it's working. Whatever. Yeah, it is coming now. So this is how it should come actually. Is it clear? So it means that it has created actually. It has created a table actually.
Clear.
Sorry, what man? If you want to really check, actually, you can go to here.
We understand.
Yeah, you can go to the MySQL here. Okay, use student app. Okay, and then like what happened, right? Here you could say that show tables. Show tables, right? It show that there is a student table is there. Now you can do a selector star from students. See, it will show the same table, whatever it's there, right? You can show you. For example, suppose you're deleting this table or you're editing. Suppose if I do edit, instead of 2015, I'll give 2019 something. Now you could see that 2009 is been changed actually. Again, you do a select star from students, you could see that it has changed this value. Now, if you're deleting it, you can go and delete this. See, this will be entirely deleted. Now, if you again do a show star from the student, you could see that you have removed the table. Is it clear?
Yes, perfect.
So till here you have to work. Okay, in tomorrow's session, what we'll do, right? We will write the complete script. That itself will take around 1 hour time. And we'll be able to complete the whole task tomorrow. And then like we will start with the set programming tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow also we will try to connect from 6 to 8. Today it got a little bit delay, but fine. So 6 to 8 we will see, and then tomorrow we will try to complete up to set actually. In the next class, in the last final class, we will be using awk programming and with the intro question answers. So next 2 more sessions will be there. With that, we will going to wind up our scripting session. Clear?
Okay, Rajesh, thanks.
So thank you. So let me stop this recording. Okay,
Okay, Rajesh.
let me stop this recording.